What's up, gamers? It's your host, Cobra. Guild of Guardians pre-alpha demo may be over, but free roll gameplay videos are not. So today we are going to take a look at the Guild of Guardians pre-alpha demo's final dungeon, Brimstone 12. Brimstone 12 is definitely one of the more difficult stages, although I wouldn't call it the most difficult. That distinction, I think, goes to Brimstone 4. Of course, the next time that this rolls around, the scaling is going to be different, so we don't even know if that will be the case in the future. But either way, this was definitely one of the more challenging dungeons, and interestingly enough, it's also literally my last run of the entire pre-alpha demo. Now, if you remember from my last video, we got started quite late. I only had the game for about 6 days, and I admittedly spent a little bit too much time farming gear earlier on, so it was a bit of a tight squeeze to get it finished, but we were able to do so, and now I can share this final dungeon with you today. Quick note on future videos, the reason why I was spending time farming gear was that I wanted to build out a couple of different builds for at least one or two heroes, and then show you the differences and the dynamics that brings to this game. That is going to be a feature that I think is very fun and interesting for players in the future. However, the gear in the pre-alpha demo was on the basic side, or my RNG was terrible, because we just really didn't get enough variety of stats and piece types in order to build multiple gear loadouts for our heroes. So that will be done in the next version, but as we go through the gameplay, about 3.5 minutes for this particular stage, I'm going to talk to you about my approach, some of the things I liked about the game, as well as the gear that we built for this final stage. And before we jump into the gameplay, quick programming note. I always include timestamps below so that you can skip to the most interesting part of the video if you don't have time to watch it all, and it would be a great help if you hit that like and subscribe button to support the channel. Alright, so here we are going to jump straight into Brimstone 12, the final dungeon of the pre-alpha demo, and interestingly enough, this is quite literally my only run of this dungeon for the entire playtest. That's because I started late and we had just enough energy to finish this final level before the demo closed for good. But luckily, we were able to get it done in time. One thing that you will note, when I joined, it indicated that my squad was underpowered for this level and gave me a warning to see if I wanted to proceed. I did, again, because this was going to be the last bit of energy I was using before the play test ended, and I also wanted to test out my Rohan healer character on this level. He was the last merge that we did in the game, and that meant he was pretty underleveled at this point compared to the rest of the team, but he does hold his own pretty well on this stage anyways. That is in large part because he is a ranged character, so as you see, he's hanging back and he's not taking a ton of attacks. On this stage, I do a decent job of protecting him there when new enemies spawn around where he was camping out. Later on, I do a less stellar job of that exact same thing, and it's something that you're going to have to watch out for in this game when you are playing with ranged characters. And here in this middle stage is one of the more challenging sections, and you can see my healer is back there just getting stabbed. It took me way too long to go over there and clean that up. This stage was a bit more challenging because it has a bunch of these shielded enemies, which are a pain to get through. That's why I use an ultimate there to help speed that part up. It also has quite a bit of variety. But here we are heading into the final section, and this is the final boss of the entire demo. Now, he does take out one of my characters here, but as you can see, I roll behind him and just start attacking. Morax is able to completely face tank this final boss, which is great because I was only going to get one chance at it. He's being supported fairly nicely by my healer, but he's just not taking a lot of damage either, and so he's able to crank it out. One thing that I find interesting here is that there are a whole bunch of waves of enemies that come after I finish the final boss. I wonder if that is designed as intended, but either way, it was a surprise that almost caused me to fail. As you can see, Tomo is nearly dead at this point. Morak's still in pretty good shape and doesn't really get threatened too much, but I was not expecting this level of additional enemies, and so that made it a bit more challenging, but we do finish it off without too much trouble here. There's a wave of spiders, and then we are all finished with the playtest demo entirely. And that concludes today's Guild of Guardians pre-alpha demo of Brimstone 12 actual gameplay. If you found this helpful, and we certainly hope you did, consider giving us a follow on Twitter. That's where I like to engage with viewers and answer questions, plus talk about play to earn gaming in general. Also, make sure you've hit that like and subscribe button to support the channel.